Today's the day. Welcome back to Gear for the Common Yeti. And today, in deck number 733, we're going to talk about Chatterfang, the Squirrel General. This is not Squirrel Tribal, by the way. I did the mono green Squirrel Tribal with Toski way back, so if you want to go see Squirrel Tribal. But, 3 mana, we had a 3/3 Forest Walk. That's outstanding. But here's the beautiful part. If one or more tokens would be created under your control, those tokens plus that many squirrel tokens are created instead. For a black, you sack X squirrels, and target creature gets plus X minus X till end of turn. That's what gives it the black-green identity. Now, if you are building and you have access to a doubling season or the vigor or any of those doublers, do it. Because this is token generation. And just by the sheer token generation, we're going to generate so many squirrels. I don't know how relevant that last ability is. Because I haven't played it. I don't know. But let's look at our token generation, shall we? We have, well, the very first thing I want to look at is Slimefoot. A lot of what we are going to make is going to be sapperlings, just because of the colors that we're in. And when a sapperling dies, you get the life point. So, for 4 mana, you create a sapperling. It's not bad, right? 4 mana colon, so this is repeatable. So for 4 mana, we're going to get a sapperling and a squirrel. We can sacrifice the sapperling and the squirrel for 2 colorless apiece and do it again. Now, we're not really accomplishing anything, except we have a ton of comes into play triggers and a ton of death triggers. So if we get that, the Bastion of Remembrance, and keep in mind there are other things out there that will also do it. I was just making what I had work, right? So, I mean, even when you cast the Bastion of Remembrance, you're going to get a soldier and a squirrel. But whenever a creature you control dies, it does the 1-point life swap deal. So, now, Sprout Swarm is outstanding because it has Convoke. If you've got anything that buys down the cost or doubles the tokens, one doubler, I think, does one doubler get you there? Because to cast and buy back is 5 mana. There's a reason they didn't put this in Time Spiral. It's remastered. Big reason for it. So, you can generate some, because you're going to get a sapperling and a squirrel. You can convoke those to buy it down to 3. Can you tap while playing this spell? Yeah, you need a cost reducer or a token doubler. Something along those lines. Now, don't get me wrong. I do have some squirrel stuff in here. Chatter of the squirrel makes a token. Chatterstorm. Draykeeper makes 2 squirrel tokens, now 4. Underworld Hermit, equal to your devotion to black. It may not be much. It's at least 2. We have Squirrel Nest, Squirrel Sanctuary. All of these are still just token makers. The Nested Shambler, Verdant Command. Gotta have Chitter Splitter, right? Yeah. You may sacrifice a token if you do put an acorn counter. Squirrels are gonna get huge. Druid's Call, Acorn Harvest, Sedgemoor Witch. And then we have our older stuff, Silver and Offering gets really, really good when I get double what you get. Because I'm going to get X Elves and Squirrels and X Tree Folk and a squirrel. That's kind of good. Even our lands, Zyndakar's Royal. Landfall, you get a 2/2 and a squirrel. Sporemon, landfall, you get a 1/1 sap and a squirrel. Hunting Triad doesn't normally make the cut, However, for 4 mana to get 6 tokens, that's pretty good. Tireless Tracker, we don't really care what the tokens are. I'll get a clue and a squirrel for landfall. Okay. Now, Michaeloth is going to devour some tokens, and then at the beginning of your upkeep, you're going to get that many saps and squirrels for each 1/1 counter on Michaeloth. Yeah, that's amazing, right? Bloodstore Thynax is the other devour, which each other creature you control enters the battlefield with additional X 1/1 counters on it. It's insane. Now, Batman, we've got the Skeletal Vampire, comes into play with 2 bats and 2 squirrels, and then it has its own engine to where you can sacrifice 1 bat to get 2 more bats and 2 more squirrels. Right? Good old Snake Basket. Why not, right? You cast it out there in late game, it's insane. Orochi Hatchery, you just tap for all that. And then one of my personal favorites, the Ant Queen. 2 mana, colon. You get a squirrel and an insect. Now, if you've got a way to generate some green, and you get the Ant Queen, the Commander, and the Ashnod's Altar, awesome things can happen. So, let's look at our ramp, shall we? It's not a whole lot, because we have a pretty low curve. Soul Ring, Rampant Growth, Cultivate, Search for Tomorrow, Ranger's Path, Explosive Vegetation, Circuitous Route, Elves of Deep Shadow. That's a lot of land searching, you say. And it is. I have a Sylvan Scrying in there as well to search for a specific land. That land would be Yavimaya, Cradle of Growth. We need not forget our commander has Forest Walk. And we have been taking advantage of Urborg enabling Swamp Walk for a decade, almost, probably. It's now time for... Now, I almost built a Tribal Forest Walk deck, but I couldn't pass up the sweet, sweet token synergy. It's a beautiful card. I love Yavimaya. This is the only one I pulled. And that enables stuff like, slapping a Blanchwood Armor on your commander and just getting the job done that way. A little bit of card draw. Skull Clamp is a lot of bit of card draw. I know, with Saprolings and Squirrels and everything. Skull Clamp's going to get us there. Toski, just for... I'm considering this card draw. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Wow. Of course, then we have our the normal fare, the Sign in Blood, Harmonize, Read the Bones, Rites of Flourishing, Shamanic Revelation. I'm going to count Grim Backwoods, too, because you can sack one of them tokens and draw a card. If times are tough, hey, I'll do it. I've got 4 other Squirrel cards. We have the Squirrel Sovereign. Almost didn't put it in there because it kind of works against the Skull Clamp. Squirrel Mob, because we're just going to generate a ton of squirrels. The Ravenous Squirrel. Whenever you sacrifice an artifact or a creature, this gets bigger. We're going to be sacrificing a ton of creatures, right? And then it gives us the outlet. And for some unknown reason, I have a Changeling Outcast. Because I needed another squirrel, apparently, or Saproling, or whatever. This is a slot. Yeah, for whenever I get something. I probably need a crop rotation in here now that I'm looking at it. This could be crop rotation to go and, force out that Yavimaya. Other miscellaneous stuff, a second harvest is just, doubling up your tokens. That's a beautiful thing. Diabolic Tutor to go find that piece that we need. Regrowth, there again. Tangle, because I love it way better than Fog. In a multiplayer environment, Tangle can almost kill somebody. Because if they swing out at you, they've got to make it, 2 revolutions of the table? Yeah, because they were 1, and then it won't untap, and then, yeah. Court of Calling, to go get that creature that we need. Overrun and Tromp of the Hordes, because, generating that many tokens, we might as well get some combat damage out of it, right? Now, our commander has a little bit of built-in removal. Also a little bit of pomp, just not careful. But I do have a little bit here. Fatal Push, I figure that's, stuff's going to die. Terror, Return to Nature, Murder, Putrefy, and Doomblade. Now, we have a ton of non-basic lands. I feel like we got to have that Bajuka Bog. Because nowadays, if I'm running black, I want one. The graveyard is just too integral. Of course, we have the Command Tower, Hissing Quagmire, Dakmos Bridge, Golgari Guildgate, Terramorphic Expanse, Evolving Wilds, Llanowar Waste, Darkboar Pathway, Tainted Wood, Thriving Moor, Woodland Chasm, Jungle Hollow, Witherbloom Campus, and then a couple of cycling lands, the Tranquil Thicket and the Barren Moor, and lastly a Blighted Woodland, which probably should have been with the ramp, but it was not. So that is Chatterfang. I have not had a chance to play it. Love the art cards. That's what I use the art cards for, to put on the back of it. It really does to make that. It pops a little more, and I'm guilty of popping the card when I play it. Probably shouldn't. Get my Squirrel tokens. But that is Chatterfang. I am loving Chatterfang. I cannot wait to play this one. 723 is done. Or I'm sorry, 733 is done. 723's been done, right? I know y'all think this is weird. The bar stool there. I'll explain the bar stool. We play here on these tables. I got to move all my card sorting trays when we do. But house rule is we don't put drinks on the table. No drinks on the table when there's cards present. No, it doesn't happen. So that's why I have bar stools scattered throughout the room so we can put it there. But anyway, I do appreciate it. Y'all let me know what you think. But right now, we're going to shuffle and cut.